up, fam? How we doing? Welcome back or welcome in. If you're new here, this channel is all about self-discovery, coming back into your true self, figuring out who that is, stepping aside from the ego self, calling back in love, whatever that means. We're still working on the intro. Usually we do tarot videos. I sometimes do these talking videos. Today's video is a talking video. The sun is a little bright today, so it's really early in the morning for me, so I'm going to invite you, if you feel comfortable, to grab a notebook, something to write with, so that you can jot down anything that resonates for you or anything that comes up that you want to reflect on later. Because this is your personal practice. Even though I talk about my own personal experiences, I feel like as humans we can relate to each other, right? So if you feel like you relate to my story, then you can do a little bit deeper dive on yourself and figure out what this kind of journey means for you, or this process, this path, whatever you want to call it. Let's start with some deep breaths. I'm in like a meditative state right now because I was sitting here before I started this video. This is gonna be a deep topic for some people. We're gonna be talking about the twin flame dynamic. I like to call it the purple flame because it makes it more personal for me. But you can call it whatever you like. I took some notes. I was getting a lot of channeled songs, and that's why I think I'm supposed to talk about this today. I personally have a lot of history with this particular topic. It started for me in 2015 when I met a person who felt like magic to me. This energy around this person, it felt like magic, right? But that was kind of an illusion. That was the wake up. It was a wake up call. And then after I met this person, we didn't spend too much time together in the physical realm, right? We kind of went our separate ways about a month later. It might have been a couple months later, I'm not really sure the time frame. This was a while ago. And after that, I had some kind of tower moments happen in my life, and I was uprooted from another home, and I stumbled upon this couple on YouTube who claimed to be twin flames, and they traveled the world, and they taught people about love and their dynamic and stuff like that. And it seemed a little off to me. I'm not saying that it was untrue or whatever, but it didn't sit right within me, right? And so I like deep dived into this twin flame dynamic. But for me at first, it was very, very unhealthy. Like, I had the very unhealthy pattern of believing that this person that I was with, this magical feeling person, was my twin flame, and we were destined to be together. And it got really unhealthy for a time period where I was like seeking this person out, and it wasn't good. They were with somebody else, right? And they were kind of ignoring me because I was being a little bit weird. I'll admit I was being weird. I think it was the universe was kind of like waking us up at that time, right? So it was strange, but eventually I came around and I was like, all right, I need to stop doing this because it's not healthy for me, right? But it was that kind of moment, that experience, that sparked this whole journey for me. or this whole process. I call it a process. So after I realized that that person wasn't my twin flame, how did I realize that, you're wondering? Well, because the next person I was with, my ego attached itself and was like, oh, this one's actually your twin flame. How many times did my ego do this, you're asking? At least 7 or 8 more times after this, with different people. The ego attached itself to this twin flame idea. It was like, oh, this is my perfect match. This person is my perfect match. When that really wasn't the case. Do you know who my perfect match really is? Spoiler alert, it's myself. So, after the ego attached itself to all these people and progressively got kind of more ill, I'll say, it was a very tough time in my life, because I kept getting with these people who were not healthy for me. Okay, let me repeat that for you. These people I was attaching myself to, that I was thinking were my twin flames, were not healthy for me. Okay? These relationships were not healthy. I ended up dating a heroin addict who was stealing my money and ruining my material belongings. He was emotionally abusive. That was really the tipping point. That was the lowest of the low points, was that relationship there, that I was like, oh, these magical relationships are for me, and they were not. They were, in a way. They are for you, to show you who you really are, right? They're there to wake you up, to let you know, hey, who you are in this relationship is more important than the actual relationship. I learned a lot about myself in these relationships that I was in. I learned how caring of a person that I am. But I also learned that I have people-pleasing tendencies, which I recently learned is a form of manipulation. But the longer that I went on thinking that all these other different people were my twin flame, the closer I got to myself, right? Because each time I was shedding a skin. And after about the 4th, 5th, 6th time, I was like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe the twin flame isn't something outside of you, but rather inside of you, right? You have this flame deep inside of you. It can be called the digestive fire. It's actually, it's in your stomach, right? They talk about it a lot in yoga. You can read about it in Chinese medicine. It's probably in Ayurveda. This digestive fire, this flame within you, that's what you're seeking. That's what you're looking for. And all these other people that you're with act as a mirror. So when you're with a person, they are reflecting you back to you. The way that you behave, the way that you speak, the things that you do are reflected back at you by this other person. Now, it may not be exact, right? They may not be doing these things to you, but the way that the mirror works is through reflection. So by journaling, you can journal about your experiences. I have another little notebook. You can, by journaling these things that you see when you are with this person that you're with, you uncover deeper parts of yourself, right? And this is something you can do by yourself in reflection, but it works best in relationship with others, right? And this isn't just romantic relationships, right? The twin flame, whatever spiritual people say, is not strictly romantic. It can be platonic. It can be professional. It can be familial. All of these relationships that we have in our life act as mirrors for us to develop or to rediscover who we already were before the world told us who we ought to be, right? So when you were a child, before your parents or your peers or your teachers told you how you ought to be in the world, you already were your perfect being, right? Often as adults we think, oh, children don't know anything, they're still learning, they don't know how to be in society, which to an extent is true, because children are already in their natural state. They were not programmed to be a part of society until they are programmed, right? And then it's up to us, once we become adults, to unprogram societal thinking. And that's sort of what this twin flame thing does. But it kind of makes people, I don't want to say crazy, but it kind of makes people a little nutso sometimes. I'm one of them. Like I've fallen victim to that, right? But in a way, we're like, it's victimizing ourselves. I digress. That's not to say that you're victimizing yourself if you're staying in these kind of relationships. That might be an underlying tone in the ego's holding on to, but you don't deserve to be treated like garbage. And it's up to you to kind of realize that and tell yourself, hey, I don't deserve to be treated like garbage. And then you wake up. So, the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because it is such a big thing in the spiritual community to talk about this twin flame dynamic and the pusher and puller and things like that. And the reason why I think the universe wanted me to speak about this is because of the amount of musical inspiration that's been coming to me the past few days. There were a lot of songs channeled, at least 5. Before I started this, that song, whenever you're ready, whenever you're ready, was playing in my head. And I think that was my sign that whenever I'm ready to talk about this, that I should, because I think more people need to hear about it and to hear different perspectives on what this kind of process actually is. Some of the other songs I was getting, they signified sort of this push and pull, right? So we had Runaway from Kanye, Run Away From Me Baby, because there's the runner and the chaser. There's Messy by Lola Young, that song came up. I'm trying to remember the lyrics. That one's not coming to me right now. I know you know the song. You don't feel, it's about not feeling good enough, right? You're in this relationship and you don't feel good enough for the relationship. And that's because it doesn't fit. If you don't feel good enough, it's because you don't fit. And I'm not saying either like leave your relationships if you're there for a reason, right? It's necessary for you for a reason. And if you're not comfortable, or if you know it doesn't fit, then yes, by all means, leave. Go find where you fit. what works for one person is not going to work for everybody. That's also why I recommend everybody take notes when they watch my videos, because there's a lot of different things coming in and going out, and it helps you to catch the things that are meant for you and let go of all the rest of the things. Another song, what a man gotta do, what a man gotta do to be totally locked up by you. That's by the Jonas Brothers, I think. So the masculine, this masculine energy is obsessed. It's obsessed in love, right? But so is the feminine. The feminine can also be obsessed. But it's like, you want to be more obsessed. Be obsessed with yourself, right? Be in love with yourself first. And maybe you don't know what that looks like. Maybe you've never felt the love that you think you deserve. And that's also why you should give it to yourself. Teach others how to love you. Teach others how you want to be loved. And you can only do that by loving yourself first. Take yourself out on a date. Right? Go to the movie theater by yourself. I know I said this happens in relationship, but it starts first in the self. Right? And then once you feel comfortable in yourself, when you get into a relationship, it's easier to kind of navigate where you still need healing and where you have healed, because you'll begin to see a difference in how you act or behave toward the other person. There's also a fear. There's fear around love. I took notes on this like extra sheet of paper, so this might be a long video and it might be kind of scattered a little bit or like unorganized, but I promise there's a reason for this. There's like this drama in the twin flame dynamic that people talk about all the time on the internet. There's this drama involved, right? But in this sort of spiritual love with yourself, with others, in relationship with others, it's peaceful and calm, right? When you finally arrive there, it is peaceful and calm. There's no drama. It doesn't need to be a big show. That's how you know that's the ego self. When it feels dramatic, when it feels like obsessive, compulsive, you have to do this thing, that's your ego self driving you, right? But when you settle down and you sit into this calm space, everything comes naturally. Another song that came up, How Do I Live Without You by Leanne Rimes. These feelings of, I can't live unless I have my other half with me. And that's just not true, because you can. You can live peacefully in yourself. Right? This journey of life, process of life that we live, is ultimately done alone. And I know that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. You can have people and support around you, right? But this spiritual journey is done, and I don't want to say alone as in like, there's semantics here, because while you are alone in yourself, right, you're the only spirit, soul, right here, right? That's you. Then you also have like your spirit guides or your ancestors and things. So in that sense, you're not alone, right? You're never truly alone. You have all these unconditional love energies around you. You just have to become aware of them. And maybe you don't believe that, and that's okay too. You can believe what you want to believe. Personal belief is the most powerful belief. Right? Because it's whatever you believe to be true for you, that's what's going to be true. This Kiss by Faith Hill also came up. That's another thing that in that very first relationship that I had that sparked this whole twin flame thing in my brain, in my ego self, was the kiss. The kiss felt magnetic. It felt unreal. But that's the wake up, right? If that relationship that you're in feels so magical, that's the wake up. And maybe the magical relationship you're in is a good one, in which case, I'm so happy for you. Please enjoy your life. But also be aware that it's okay if things feel boring. That's something that I needed to learn in myself, because I grew up in a very chaotic energy, right? I grew up in this very chaotic energy, so when things get boring or when things feel flat or stale, I got scared because I was like, oh, nothing's happening. I must not be where I'm supposed to be. But really, when you grow up in chaos, when things are boring, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. That's the point. Allow yourself to feel bored. Allow yourself to feel flat. Stagnant, I guess. It's not gonna be forever, right? Because that feeling is fleeting, kind of. This push and pull energy is a fear around abandonment. You feel this magical feeling toward this person, and you're like, oh, that's the person that I'm gonna love, and it's gonna be amazing. But then there's this fear in the pit of your stomach that once you actually get that, once you have that, it's gonna be taken away. You're gonna lose it. And that causes this push-pull, because this is also your attachment style from childhood. And when you begin to realize these patterns, then you can stop them in their tracks and you can change them. And you can choose differently. This mirror from the other person is the catalyst to change, right? This is how you grow. And when you realize, so when you have that wake-up call, that magical moment, you can't hide from it anymore. You can't run away. That push-pull dynamic just becomes this, the cat-mouse chase thing becomes the catalyst. When you stop doing your running away from the things that you're running away from, when you stop trying to chase after this other thing that you think is meant for you, when you stop and sit and look in the mirror and feel the discomfort, that's when the illusion drops away. The running and the chasing and all this, that is the ego self trying to hold on to this idea that's been fabricated to keep you in that cycle. But you can choose different. And you're already, by watching this video, you're already choosing different. If you've made it this far, this is already a very large video. If you've made it this far, then I'm proud of you. Give yourself a pat on the back. It really is a beautiful realization. 11:44 on the clock. It's a beautiful realization when you come to the conclusion that you don't need another person to make you feel whole. You don't need another person to live your dream life. You can do that now as you are. And that's what I mean when I say that you live this life alone. You do those things in your own time when you choose to do them. Making videos, this is my dream, and I'm doing them right now. And I'm the only one in this video, aside from my spirit team who loves everybody unconditionally, right? They're all here. And my dog, she's here. You're here. And I am acting like a mirror to you right now, right? You may be listening to these words and you may be thinking, oh, this doesn't sound like me. But you could also be listening and be like, oh yeah, this sounds so much like me. I so relate, right? That's the mirror. There's this quote that I heard last year, a couple years ago, when I was in college, that the universe separates itself in order to experience itself. So this mirror effect that happens when we interact with each other is the universe. That's the experience. And it's so special and it's so beautiful, and sometimes it can be painful and sometimes it can be joyful. And the beauty comes in the fact that we get to feel all of these things and experience all of these things in tandem together, right? You can experience joy and heartbreak at the same time. They call it a dichotomy. But it's okay. It's okay if you feel all of these feelings all at once. That doesn't make you wrong. That doesn't make you broken. That makes you human. There's another saying that you're a spiritual being having a human experience. Or you're a human being having a spiritual experience. You could do it either way. I like the first one though. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. Give your heart a break. That's a Demi Lovato song that came up. Let me give your heart a break, give your heart a break, let me give your heart a break. There's not much you can take, oh yeah, yeah. This purple flame energy, I call it the divine purple flame because purple is a royal color, right? Purple is the color of the divine. It's the crown chakra. This divine purple flame is you, right? You're gonna shine that baby as bright as you can if you want. This twin flame energy, right, is death card energy. It is an ending and a beginning. You are going to be transformed by this purple flame. You are transformed by the fire, right? I'm picturing, okay, I just got an image. So the mirror, I'm the myth of Medusa. Medusa has all the snakes on her head, right? And if she gets looked at, then the person gets turned into stone. Medusa has the mirror shined on her and she sees her own reflection and she gets turned to stone. But maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's her predestination. And so by accepting this flame, this mirror, allowing yourself to be changed by it, you're going back into your predestined state of being. It's a deep transformation on a cellular level. You're burning away all of the things, the incorrect things that people taught you, that grown-ups taught you over the years, of how to be a good adult, or how to be a good partner, or how to be a good this or that, the other. Those are other people's conditioned beliefs. You don't have to work a 9 to 5 job if you don't want to work a 9 to 5 job. You don't have to have a family if you don't want to have a family. You don't have to live in a community of people if you don't want to. You can go live in the woods. You can go live on a boat. I know a person, a woman, her and her husband lived on a houseboat for 20 some years. And that was amazing to me. I was like, that sounds so cool. That sounds like something I want to do. Right? We can take inspiration from these people, but ultimately our journey, our life is ours. It's our story, right? We get to create that how we want. That's the joy. I really hope that this video is helpful for some people. I feel much lighter talking about it. I feel this kind of buzzing in my crown chakra. I feel this lightness in my heart for sharing my story. And I really hope that it's helpful for someone. I held on to it for a long time, this idea, and it was sort of these wrong ideas too, these wrong ideas of what this twin flame journey is, because I watched all these videos on YouTube that gave me false information. And it's like, it's not necessarily that it's false information, it's like, it's innocently false in a sense, because it's this concept that people are trying to put words on. It's a transformative feeling that we feel, but I think it's such a universal feeling that when people put words on it, they kind of mistake it as something else. So I will always remain a skeptic when somebody tells me some information, which I hope you do too. Like, also remain skeptical of my information, because even though this is my story and it may resonate with someone and they may use this as like a guide, don't take it as truth for you, right? Because your journey may be different. Even though this is my journey, and I can share this with you and give you some insights into how you can navigate your own inner compass. Each of us has our own personal journey to work through. And that's the beauty of experience. That's the beauty of life. You get to experience these things for yourself, and you get to try things on. And if you don't like it, take it off. And you totally can be in a relationship, a healthy one. It doesn't have to be a twin flame relationship. It doesn't have to be a super spiritual connection. It can be if you want it to be, if that's how you view the world. But it doesn't have to be. You can also have a mundane relationship. You can have a boring one. You can have both of them intertwined. That's the joy of the freedom that we get to choose. We're all just little butterflies, or moths. Excuse me. However you wanna. Maybe that was a sign or a. I'm hearing a sign or a symptom. That was a letting go of these ideas that you have to fit a certain mold. Wherever you are on your journey, I am so proud of you. And I wish you nothing but the best. If you made it to the end of this video, I want you to put a heart in the chat box down below. And you can share your journey with me. You can share your story if you'd like. I always read all the comments, even if I don't answer all of them. I do try because I'm a small channel right now, but if you enjoy this kind of talk and want to hear more about it, you can leave a like, and I'll see what spirit comes up with and what they want me to share. I love you guys so much, and I wish you so much luck and love on your journey to self-discovery, to rediscovering yourself. I appreciate you so much. Have a beautiful day.